Hey everybody, and a happy Wednesday to you. Thank you so much for tuning in again for our Wednesday devotional. I am out on my back deck again, and today I have a very loud hawk that is very vocal, if you can hear that. So I apologize for that, but it is so nice outside. I wanted to sit out here and bring you guys the Word of God today. So today we are looking at chapter 8 in Matthew, of course, because we've been in Matthew forever, but that's all right. Chapter 8 in the book of Matthew, verses 23 through 27. It's very short, but this is the very famous story of Jesus in the boat with his disciples, calming the storm. So let's dive right in and take a look. And when he got into the boat, his disciples followed him. A windstorm arose on the sea, so great that the boat was being swamped by the waves, but he was asleep. And they went and woke him up, saying, "Lord, save us, we are perishing." And he said to them, "Why are you afraid, you of little faith?" Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a dead calm. They were amazed, saying, "What sort of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him?" Okay, so first things first, the sea, back in biblical times for the Jewish folks, I cannot talk today, according to the Jewish folks, the sea represented a thing that only God could control. The sea was a threatening force. Nobody could control it. No prophets, nobody who had come before could control the sea except for God. So here comes Jesus, and that is why at the end of this story, they say they were amazed, saying, "What sort of man is this that even the winds and the sea obey him?" If you think back to all of the stories in the Old Testament of God and the ocean and the sea, God is the one that is in control. And so it's not surprising here that the disciples are like, wait a minute, what is going on? This guy has the ability to do something that we know only God can do. And that's where I think there's a turning point here in the book of Matthew for his disciples. At this point, the disciples really, I think it clicks for them a little bit that God and Jesus are one. And that's a really difficult thing to comprehend. It's a really, really hard thing to understand. And so it took something really, really grand and something really intense to show the disciples that connection. And that is the command or the control over the sea, like Jesus shows them. This, I think, is really important for us to read today. Not because of the sea part. I mean, that's not really in our tradition to think of the sea only being controlled by God. That's not like a huge thing in our religion. The thing that I wanted to focus on is the disciples' fear when they are feeling like they are being pulled down. The disciples fear this water that is overcoming them, and they say, "Lord, save us, we are perishing." That is something that I feel like I have prayed recently in the last couple of months. I have prayed to God, "Lord, save us, we are perishing down here." There is so much going on with the virus and with the protests and all these horrific things that are coming around, the murder hornets or whatever. I don't know if that's a thing anymore. But there are so many things going on in the world right now that I have found myself praying this in these last few months. "Lord, save us, we are perishing." And the response that Jesus has is just incredible. And he said to them, "Why are you afraid, you of little faith?" Okay, so let's put ourselves in the shoes of the disciples for a second. You are on a boat and it is capsizing. Let's pretend like you're on a cruise and the cruise is going down, like the boat is going down. Are you not going to be terrified? That's human instinct. That's natural for us to be like, "Oh my gosh, we are about to die. I'm freaking out." So for Jesus to respond in this way that says, "Why are you afraid, you of little faith?" That goes to show us how big of an impact faith can have on our life. If Jesus can look at them while they are literally thinking that they're about to die because their boat is going down, maybe they know how to swim. I don't know. They were fishermen, so I would think so, but maybe not. They're going down and they're really afraid for their life. And for Jesus to respond, "Why are you afraid, you of little faith?" just shows us how incredibly huge faith can be in our life and how if we have the right amount of faith, if we really have the proper faith, even in the midst of death and chaos and drowning, we shouldn't be afraid. That's the kind of faith that Jesus wants us to have. That is a kind of faith that I do not have. Not right now. I'm still working to get there. But I don't have that kind of faith. If I was staring death in the face, I would be terrified. I would be absolutely terrified, and I would cry out to God. But the faith that Jesus is talking about here is a kind of faith where you are firm and peaceful, and I don't even know the other word for it that I'm trying to say, but you are calm in the face of all things because of this kind of faith that Jesus is talking about. So I don't know I don't think I know anybody that has that kind of faith, to be honest. That is a kind of faith that is something that we should aspire to have as Christians. That is something that we are supposed to work toward, I think, as Christians. You don't just start out with that kind of faith. Like when you're 4 years old and you are reading the Bible and you believe in Jesus, like your faith, that kind of faith just doesn't pop up. This is a kind of faith that grows and that you have to work on. And so I think that's really important in this for us today in this story and what we're facing. We have to work on our faith. But if we do work on that faith and we get to the point where we have the faith that Jesus is talking about here, even in the face of death, we would not be afraid. And so I know for me, I still have work to do then on my faith, because that's not the case for me. And maybe that is not the case for you. I don't know. Maybe your faith is incredible and you have that faith where you are not afraid in the face of death. But I am not there, at least. And so maybe you aren't either. I don't know. But this story teaches us the incredible strength that faith has in our life, and the ability for faith to save us from all things and to calm us in the midst of all things. And so I encourage you this week to work on your faith, to continue to pray. And by working on your faith, I mean by getting into the Word. Work on your faith by praying to God. Work on your faith by calling out to God. Work on your faith by trying to see the positive and the beauty in the things that are around you that God is working on. God is constantly working on creating beauty within all of these evil things that are around us. So try to find those things. And that's what I mean by working on your faith. Really relying on God's plan and knowing that everything is going to be okay. Then maybe we can reach the faith that Jesus is talking about here, that even the disciples didn't have. This is crazy faith. This is the faith we want to have. So just a little thought for you today as you go about your day and you go about your week. I hope that resonated with some of you guys, and I love that story. It's a fantastic story, and I encourage you guys to read it over and over again because it's really great, even though it's really short. But anyway, I hope you join me on Sunday for our Sunday school lesson, and I hope you have a great rest of your week and work on that faith. See you later. Bye.